Islam, welcome everyone to our national class, student class actually, presented to by for the Moorish American National Government. We will be having an adult class today, so bear witness and have your pencils and papers handy. Let us begin with prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day, through his holy prophet, through our Lady, amen. For the divine constitution of Moorish America reads, salvation of God's unity. Act 1. This is our constitution. The Grand Chief and Chairman of Moorish America are empowered to make law and enforce laws, with the assistance and profit in the grand body of Moorish America. The assist the Grand Chief is to assist the Grand Chief in all affairs, if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and is known before the citizens of Moorish America. Act 4. All citizens must observe these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. No organization of Moorish America can cause any confusion or to overthrow the law and the Constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all children must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopia, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason for Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble dwelling the prophets to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish America and the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom we have to the northwest and southwest shores of Africa. Islam, more than welcome everyone. With the reading of our divine constitution and through its bylaws, we now will officially declare our meeting open according to the Circle 7, Lecture, Peace, Freedom, and Justice. And speaking of the Circle 7, let us begin with our chapter for the week, which is chapter 3, talking about the unity of life. And let us have the National Secretary to read our chapter for us, and then we're going to go into our subject matter, which will be the linking of the Moorish American nation with the nations of the earth. Islam, that will be our subject matter for tonight. I'm sure you read what the prophet meant when he said how to do this thing. Islam. Assistant Secretary, are you there? Stop this.
I'm here.
Okay, would you read chapter 3 for me, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Chairman. Islam Moorish. First of all, I want to rise, giving all praises to our Father God Allah, giving the most special honor to our Prophet, Noble Durawi, the last prophet in these days and times, giving honor to our Moorish American government, all of our officials, staff, with angels, divine ministers, muftis, and most especially our Moorish citizens, giving honor to whom honor is due. Chapter 3, Elohim's lesson, unity of life. Again, Elohim met his pupils in the sacred grove and said, no man lives unto himself, for every living thing is bound by cords to every other living thing. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will love and not demand love in return. They will not do to other men what they would not have other men do unto them. There are two selves, a higher and lower self. The higher self is human spirit, clothed with soul, made in the form of Allah. The lower self, the carnal self, the body of desires, is a reflection of higher self, distorted by the murky ethers of the flesh. The lower self is an illusion and will pass away. The higher self is a lion man and will not pass away. The higher self is the embodiment of truth. The lower self is truth reversed, and so is falsehood manifest. The higher self is justice, mercy, love, and right. The lower self is what the higher self is not. The lower self breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. The higher self is mother of the virtues and the harmony of life. The lower self is rich in promises, but poor in blessedness and peace. It offers pleasure, joy, and satisfying gain, but gives unrest, misery, and death. It gives men apples that are lovely to the eye and pleasant to the smell. Their cores are full of bitterness and gall. If you would ask me what to study, I would say yourselves, and you well have studied them. And then would ask me what to study next, I would reply, yourselves. He who knows well his lower self knows the illusions of the world, knows of the things that pass away. He who knows his higher self knows a lot, knows well the things that cannot pass away. Thrice blessed is the man who has made purity and love his very own. He has been ransomed from the perils of the lower self, and is himself his higher self. Men seek salvation from an evil that deems a living monster of the netherworld, and they have gods that are but demons in disguise, all powerful, yet full of jealousy and hate and lust, whose favors must be bought with costly sacrifice of fruit, and of the lives of birds and animals and humankind. And yet, these gods possess no ears to hear, no eyes to see, no heart to sympathize, no power to save. This evil is a myth. These gods are made of air, and clothed with the shadow of a thought. The only devil from which man must be redeemed is self, the lower self. If man would find his devil, he must look within. His name is self. If man would find his Savior, he must look within. And when the demon self has been dethroned, the Savior, love, will be exalted to the throne of power. The David of the light is purity, who slays the strong Goliath of the dark, and seeks the Savior love upon the throne. Josh?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Mr. Secretary. We want to give honor to all the students online tonight. This is an extended class. Normally we would not have extended classes on Thursday, but due to the urgency of the hour and several other things, we are extending this class because, number one, we have the interest of the Moors into a level now that the prophet intended. When the prophet came on the scene out of the east, no one actually recognized him as to who he was that was on the local level. When I say the local level, I mean the John Doe citizen, the average person. There were many people who recognized him that was on the official level. In fact, he was recognized by the heads of state more readily. In fact, he was recognized by the heads of state in a short period of time that he covered the earth than any other prophet in history. The heads of Jordan, Egypt, Cairo, the holy city of Mecca, always the descendant line of Hagar, and even when it came westward, he was recognized also by the heads of Morocco and then the United States. So far as the head of the Illuminati, which was Woodrow Wilson. Contrary to often hearsay and hand-me-down information, Noble Bradley never once sat in council with the sitting president of the United States. He did converse, however, with Woodrow Wilson, and that was all it needed to be. At the time, Woodrow Wilson was still the governor of the state of New Jersey, but he was running for president-elect, and he did obtained this station later on as president during the prophet's reign, as he set up his first Moorish Science Temple, a version of the Moorish Science Temple in Newark, New Jersey. And after this, it's sort of key because later on he was then recognized by the heads of Mexico, and then when he went down to Havana, Cuba, the year before he left the body in 28, he had met with all the rest of the heads of state throughout the Western Hemisphere. And that was all of the Americas. In fact, that was the title of the conference. It was the Pan-American Conference at the time. It's similar to the United Nations as we see it today, or the NATO alliance as we would have it, that later came to be. But for the North Atlantic or the South Atlantic or the Middle Atlantic or whatever, the American Conference was really the thing during that time. And at this period of time, Noble Ali met with and was recognized by all of the heads of states, this being all the various so-called Indian tribes, the various nations and representatives throughout the Central Americas and South American countries that was there. The only people that did not truly recognize Noble Ali was the very people that he came to save. But bear in mind, this was not unusual. So I don't want anyone, thinking, yeah, I knew who the prophet. No, we didn't. If you knew who the prophet was, you'd be a nation by now. Well, that's just not so right out. The prophet Noble Ali came for one reason and one reason only. He came to save us as a nation of people, the Moorish Americans. Okay, and the master word for this evening, Moorish, is succession. And you will find this word in many, many forms. We had this word a little earlier in our lesson dealing with the Moorish consuls at law from the World Service Authority in Washington, D.C. We also have headquarters in Beijing, China, and Sydney, Australia. And in so being, this word was introduced in what we now call the memorandum. And you'll find this word, well, let me put the topic a little bit further out front right now before we go that far. I want to read from the Prophet's chapter 48. Of all the books that Noble Ali brought, the 70 books entirely, 66 of them had already been written, but they could only be read by the 7th angel himself. And that's when they were released to the nation of the world and to the language of their own. But he himself, that was only a total of 66 books. He wrote the other 4. And of those 4 books that Noble Ali wrote, they were for his people, okay? And of those 4 books, that was chapter 45, 6, 7, and 8, the divine origin of the Asiatic nations, Egypt, the capital empire of the nation Exodus, the end of time and fulfilling of the prophecy, and, well, that was the end of time fulfilling of the prophecy. That was the last one. The beginning of Christianity, okay? But also now, I'm going to read to give an idea of what it meant when the prophet said, what is the duty of a prophet? And that is to save nations from the wrath of God. In other words, more to save nations. This is really what all prophets do. They are born from among the very people that they are to save. It's been that way since Jump Street. Okay, you go back as far as Adam. Every prophet that is ever known as a prophet was born from among the people that have fallen short of the mark, and they had to bring them back. Okay, and Noble Ali was no exception. The only thing different about Noble Ali was the people that he was born among. No one in the history of fallen humanity has ever fallen that low. Okay? They have fallen so low that they actually disappeared from the face of the earth. Over a 300 or 400 year period, did nobody know who the Moorish was. And for all the better words, for lack of a better big, it's almost that way right now. Okay? However, we're here. And I want to bring this to surface because it is key to know where you come from who it was that brought you from where you were at to where you got to go, as well as where it is that you're supposed to go. So in chapter 48, the last three ayahs of chapter 48, in the book of Ali, the new book we just put out, and of course, you can get this pamphlet at expense, of course, but it's called the Book of Ali, and it's featuring the 4 chapters, so every prophet brings a book, and it features the 4 chapters, the only books that Noble Ali actually wrote. Okay, the chapters 45, 6, 7, and 8. And they all have commentaries breaking down the words, the various ayats, and in fact, the various structures. It gives the dynamics of the history, and the times and events, what has taken place, where you are. It even tells you in the Book of Ali who the Moorish people are. Because most Moors don't even know. They think the Moors come around as a result of the Moorish Science Temple. Please, come on, boy, think about it for a minute. If the Moorish Science Temple was founded by Noble Ali in 1913, then the magic word here would be dissemination. And no organization has a dissemination. Okay, so the people had to be older than the organization that was founded, okay? So this means here that there's no way in the world an organization can make a nation of people. It just don't work that way. You are today who your forefathers were yesterday. So who were your forefathers? So according to ayat 9, 10, and 11 in chapter 48, Noble Ali instructs. He said the covenant of the great God Allah is, honor thy father and thy mother, that the days will be longer upon the earthlands which the Lord thy God Allah has given thee. Come, all ye Asiatics of America, and hear the truth about your nationality and birthright, because you are not Negroes. Learn of your forefathers, ancient and divine creed, that you will learn to love instead of hate. Pay attention more. Nowhere have you heard of an organization. He's talking about your forefathers. He's talking about the great God Allah. He's giving you everything you need to save yourself, okay? We're trying to uplift fallen humanity. Come and link yourselves with the families of nations. Come and link yourselves with the families of nations, okay? We honor all the true and divine prophets. Now, our key subject matter here is we are trying to uplift fallen humanity, and the heart of this thing is come and link yourselves with the families of nations. That sentence right there. Come and link yourselves. All right. So he tells you to come, then boy, you must be somewhere where probably you ain't linking yourself with nobody. Wherever you at, okay, you're somewhere where you're not doing the thing that he's calling for you to do. And you're not going to make it more. I don't care who you are, where you come from, how much truth you think, even if you think you're A-deaf, I-deaf, what deaf, it don't matter. If you have not come to link yourself with the family of the nation, you will not follow Noble Ali, and you won't make it. You may be beating around the bush for a while, and maybe sounding good, maybe looking sweet, and maybe even economically beneficial to you. But what has it done for your people? There are 60 million Moorish Americans in the Northwestern Hemisphere, and I doubt it's a handful of you, is going to make a dent in the way that we're supposed to go. Okay? So what about linking yourself with the families of nations? This is where we're at today. So I want to call your attention to the work that was called out for the last 3 nights in a row, 4 nights, was Sunday, Tuesday, and last night. I want to go out to Secretary of Things for carrying on the class for me also. We were talking about self-determination. This was a master word that was introduced by Noble Ali as far as we are concerned in the West, but was later held secret. Now listen to it now. It was later, this word self-determination was later held secret by many other nations who formally themselves government. Okay? They didn't tell us. You hear about a lot of things that went around the slaves, but you never heard them telling a slave about self-determination. You never heard of a Negro being taught about self-determination. In fact, You want to hear about Moorish America being taught about self-determination, okay? You hear about it being taught about the self. Know thyself. Well, this is where it came from. Know thyself, because within that, it deals with the genealogy, it deals with the history, it deals with the descendant nature. You are today who your forefathers were yesterday. Or if you really want to get personal about it, who made you? Okay? Because you are just as great as the source from which you come. You're just as perfect as the source from which you came. So we want to now bring it down to a human level, and let's deal with the nature of the earth. We speak about this word self-determination, and we're also introducing the master word successor. Well, the word succession came out of this word self-determination. Deal with the UN Charter. It also deals with the Declaration of Human Rights of Indigenous People, which also been voted into existence by the United Nations was 4 centuries in a row. Okay? The United States, of course, is one of the few countries, in fact, next to Canada, was the only country that did not vote in the Declaration of Human Rights. It didn't make any difficult. It was overruled anyway. The majority won. Okay? And when you put yourself up against 186 other countries, then your little vote, no, you don't have that many seats, okay? So it is into law, and it's factual, and it's not only that, but within the Declaration of Human Rights, it guarantees everything that Noble Dwelly asked the Moors to do. In other words, the United Nations is in position now to pave the way, open the doors, and allow the Moors to come in and redeem themselves as a people. Okay? Everything is there for you at the United Nations. I mean, all the laws are there to protect you. You're not violating a lot of the. I don't want to do that because I'm going against the United States. Do you recall how the United States became the United States? Wasn't it the 13 colonies that had been entrusted at first as a corporation under the British rule? They was right here, and what they thought was an island. Okay? Yeah, it was right here. And of course, the Moors always knew this was a continent. All right? This is not our first time here for many of us. Okay? However, when it comes to the Europeans, they were the 13 colonies under British rule. They had a flag with a pine tree in the corner because all they saw here was the pine tree. And so they made the flag the Flowery Corporation, just like they do with McDonald's, okay, and Wendy's. Everybody got a flag, okay. Most businesses got their own flag, and this one here was nothing new for the Europeans. It was part of their culture, really. They had shields and flags and emblems to represent everything about their families and heritage and businesses, and that was just standard procedure. The thing about this corporation here, there was no exception. So the colonies, when they broke away from Britain, they wrote what was called the Declaration of Independence. Okay? And in that Declaration of Independence that we went over the other day, along with the statute of jurisdiction of Moorish America, to show you the similarities in both of them. Okay? The same steps that the colonies had to go through when they broke away from Britain is almost basically, almost verbatim, the same steps that the Moorish America have to go through, except there won't be no war. Not in the physical sense, okay? The type of war that we had to project has got nothing to do with guns and tanks and missiles and silos and satellites. All right? Our greatest weapon of mass destruction, if you will, is above the neck. Okay? So therefore, what we're interested in now is that the same procedure that was used by the colonies is also the same procedure that must be used by the Moorish today. And in expressing that self-determination, is there a reason for the Moorish people to break away from the United States? We went undergoing these reasons extensively in Tuesday night sisters class, as well as the sisters read it last night as well. Okay? And the reason why, because you yourself have got to put it to heart and to mind more that this is something here that you got to come to the realization. Do you recall we were just reading Act 6 of our Divine Constitution bylaws, and it would let you know that the time has come now, you know, that you have to proclaim your nationality before the what? The government in which you live. Okay? And so you can be recognized by the nature of the earth. This falls in line with the same subject matter that Noah Brawley had in his Quran, which is the holy instructions from the prophet. These are direct orders, no? Our prophet is telling you straight up, look, link yourself with his families and neighbors. And Act 6 said the same exact thing. Okay? Saying the same exact thing, but he's bringing your attention that you have got to be you got to formulate yourself a government. First of all right? He even lets you know in your divine constitution that the Moorish America, that you're a part and parcel of the government. You got to live the life accordingly. Okay? You don't let no organization come and try to overthrow your government. He just goes on and on and on speaking about. He mentioned the government several times, 5 times to be exact, within the divine constitution. The main thing is that it is the divine constitution of a divine movement. Okay? And so being, this lets you know that it's not just enough of you being playing on a human level, but you also got to be on the divine level. Realize that you are both God, you just happen to be in a human form. Okay? But you can raise your thoughts to infinite wisdom at will. It's up to you. As long as you purify your heart and mind with love, you can do it. It's not a problem. Okay? If there is a problem, it's because of your own bringing. That is your own raising. It's just that simple. Okay? You don't have to fall short of the mark unless that's where you want to be. So, we want to bring to your attention before we go into this word succession and how powerful it is to us, and what it is that we have to, how we are the successionists today, as the colonies were successionists to Britain in those days. Okay, but ours is more sacred, of course. But I'll explain that to you in a moment. But when you look back, the prophet lets you know that Christ blessed is the man that made Puritan love his very own. Okay? That you have been ransomed from the lower self and is himself the star. Is himself. Love to peace, freedom, and justice. Okay? Man seeks salvation from the evil that deems the living monster of the neither world. Okay? And this is what we have proceeded to be. We have put everything ahead of ourselves and ahead of our own freedom wars, okay? With all kinds of gods, anything from the cross to other organizations, our buddies down the street, our little gangs and cliques and clubs and things that, well, how the prophet said, they seem all powerful, okay? Yet still they're full of jealousy. Somebody can't stand somebody else. Somebody just somebody, a lot of hatred. Okay, and you know we got so lust all up in there. Okay, them fascinating, good feelings, all right? But the thing about it is, when you really check the record, if you are not a people, if you're not a nation of people, if you have not come together with love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, to recognize that you are in a world of trouble, boys, do you not think it's going to kill you if you don't hurry up and get the right together, okay? If you don't recognize this divine, it is because you have been falling behind some kind of God that has no ears to hear, no eyes to see, no heart to sympathize, and no power to save. That God that you've been serving, it don't care nothing about you. If you don't believe me, check your record. You've been serving God for 400 years. Where's it got you? Check the record, okay? If you want to throw Noble Drawley in there with all the Moorish teachers, check the record. What have you done with the Noble Drawley teachers? Since you know so much, since you are there, what have you done with it? Okay? And how come you're not a people How come the other nations of the earth don't know who the heck you are? Why? Because you don't know that you are a successionist. That's why. Okay? You don't know that you had a right for self-determination, and you have not exercised that right. You've been talking about civil rights, human rights, all kinds of rights, but you ain't talking about your own right for self-determination. Yep, that's what it says, self-determination. And look, the United Nations got it in all its charters. It's allowed for every nation, on every tribe, every people, every man on earth to claim itself and claim the right to self-determination. Say, look, I'm entitled to a nationality. I'm entitled to be with a nation of people. This form of government over here, call it a republic, call it a democratic, call it whatever you want to, but it's too oppressive to me. It's taking my children. It's taking my women. I can't even be a man. I can't even stand up. Okay? I ain't got no money with my face on it. And I don't know who put all these penitentiaries, but ain't none of them belong to me, but I'm in there. Okay? And just go on and on and on and on and on. Somebody has not expressed their right for determination, okay? So, let's talk about how this succession came into place in the first place. We were talking about remember the other night, I think it was Tuesday, we spoke about the territorial integrity. Territorial integrity means rightful owners, okay? It means a hand-me-down. Who actually owns this territory? Who actually owns this land? Or the integrity of the forefathers, okay? Now, if you watch enough cowboy movies, you think that, you know, the cowboys own this and own that. Or David Crockett or somebody else did this and did that. But it seems to me when Columbus got here in 1492, well, he never did make it this far. But anyway, that whole era, seeing that he discovered a place that 50 million people are already using it. Okay? So when you go back to the 1960 United Nations General Assembly, they spoke out something that's very influential. Hold on a second, let me get these things out of the phone. Okay, it says that any attempt aimed at partial or total destruction of national unity or territorial integrity of any country is let you know it's time for you to exercise your right to self-determination. Anytime someone is being so oppressive to you as a people, you've got to get away from my neighborhood, my house, my corner, my little district, okay, my little suburban and what. You got to get away from that and realize that there's 60 million Moorish Americans that's right here at home. They're the owners. We're the owners. We actually own the Americas. If you read the book of Ali, it gives you the whole history as Zobadu Ali gave it in essence. But this is, it's in the commentary. It really explains, it blows it out. Okay? That we, the Moorish people, own every bit of land, air, and water west of Egypt. That includes the northwest and southwestern shores of Africa, all the Atlantic, and include the islands and the Americas. This is the Moorish Empire, okay? And in order for you to acquire this, this means that you are what is known as a successor, okay? Or successionist is the proper term. When you look at the term succession, and I want to read it from the dictionary, bear with me for a second. Let's see. Okay, here we go. I'm reading from the, the third edition of Black's Law, and it's a doing. We speak about the word succession. But speak about a natural succession is a special taking place between natural persons. For example, in descent as if just of an ancestor or an ongoing progeny, okay? So this is a natural succession. You got succession duty, you got succession, right? It just goes on and on and on about the succession and what it has. You can look it up on your own, okay? But the main thing about being a succession, even in the civil part, it has to do with, well, actually it derives from what the Latin word is, or in the civil law, meaning is that it's a coming in place of another. In other words, if someone moves and leaves something on, then like a father leaves something to the son, or something is inherited, or if a business is going on to a descendant of that particular founder, this kind of thing, okay? That is one is successive. So in natural law, it's that, but in the hereditary law, it goes even deeper than that, okay? So, and the rightful determination, it speaks about, here we go, okay, that any attempt to claim legal succession, that is, for succession triumph territorial integrity, it must at least show this. If you want to claim it, that is, you got to show that, number one, that the successionist, this is on page 3 of the memorandum, by the way, okay, that this, and this, the memorandum was, as I'll repeat this, most of you know already, but the memorandum was put together by a team of our international councils of law that was working for and through the World Service Authority. This is back about 4 years ago, okay? And they later put it together and brought it before the conference that we had in Philadelphia. And in so doing, they presented this memorandum and they let the Moors know, say, look, you are a government. Everybody just waiting and you just raise your head because you got everything else in front of you, okay? And part of that had to do with being successionist. And this is the way it was explained. That a successionist are a people, okay? This is in the sense of your ethnic or ethnographic sense, okay? That a successionist are a people, meaning that you must be collective, okay, as a people. Remember, I said that we were 60 million strong, okay? 20 or 30 of you in a little group over here, a little temple over there, a little organization. That's not it. That's not cutting it. Okay? When Noble Raleigh came to us, he came to us and said, look, I brought you everything it takes to save what? A nation. He ain't seen about no club, clique groups, NGOs, nothing like that. Okay? So don't get caught up. And I'm not opposed to the MSTLA. Let me straighten that out too, okay? This is where I got my start, so I wouldn't have known nothing about none of this. And then I come to the Moorish Side Civil. However, the Moorish Side Civil has not fulfilled its duty either. The Moorish Side Civil whole obligation, you must remember, is just an organization. But it's got members in it. And members of the organization can't think. But the members in it should. Okay? So therefore, who is taken for the Moorish Side Civil? Moorish American. Okay? So the Moorish Americans are the ones that's got to think in order so they can do what? Save themselves. If you don't save yourself, it's only because you're not thinking. It's that simple. No, I'm just repeating the words of Raleigh. All right? He said, if I could just get you to thinking, you would save yourself. Raleigh said that, not me. All right? So a successionist, number one, successionist, and that is spelled S-E-C-E-S-S-I-O-N-I-S-T with an S. Successionist are a people. So this is speaking in the etymology, in the sense of etymology, okay? Or, I'm sorry, dealing with the, well, the economy, or the people like a vast of people, okay? The states in which they are succeeding services violate their human rights, and there is no other effective remedy under either domestic law or international law, okay? Now, I can give you a good example. What about that That other crime that's making real high. What about that denationalization? Any of y'all know anything about that? Can any of you bear witness to being denationalized while here under the jurisdiction of the United States? You know anything about that? What about your children? What about those of you who's on the line right now and your children? I'm talking about your recent born that was should have been born through because you were the Moorish American. Okay, before they got life, right? But what happened when it got down to the Bureau of Vital Statistics? Okay? That includes those who say, no, I didn't have no baby down there. I wouldn't take my baby. I ain't got no contract with them. Okay, so you ain't got no contract. What else you got? Where's the nation at? Where's the government at? Now that you ain't got no contract, okay? So this right here is not to pick at you. It's just letting you know that it's time now to wake up and realize that the only way you're going to save yourself is through forming yourself or amongst yourselves a government. That's what everybody has to do. This is not something that's just been thrown out the pot by Drew Ali. No. Every nation on earth exists because they have a government. Okay? And speaking about the government, let's go on a little bit more about this word secessionist, okay? Remember, we just read the thing about Noble Ali said, come link yourself with the nation of the earth, and the families of the nations, be recognized. Okay. The doctors of the law at the World Service Authority instructed them all, said, look, under the hypothesis, in other words, the instructions of Drew Ali, that the Moorish American state, meaning who we are, all right, will have successfully examined its right to self-determination. It would have to show the international community that it possesses all the characteristics of a sovereign state in order to be officially recognized as such. I repeat that. Okay? Under the instructions of Noble Raleigh, here they use the term hypothesis, okay? That the Moorish American state, meaning that you're no longer an organization, you're a nation of people. That's the state, okay? That the Moorish American state would have successfully exercised its right to self-determination. Now, that's all of us exercising that right, not no one group of little over here, or you in Virginia, and I'm in Detroit. No, that's silly. That's right silly. Or I'm in Chicago. We the Mecca. Silly. Okay? What makes you think that all of us ain't going to suffer the whole wrath entirely if we don't pull ourselves together? Especially, I'll tell you how silly the Moors look. If you don't claim yourself as a people, we also use this as an example. We look like two inmates in a cell arguing about who's going to sleep on what bunk or who's going to use the toilet. And meanwhile, the cell door wide open. In fact, ain't nobody else in the penitentiary but us. Them two people in there, I say they're all going to be, I don't like you because you in Chicago. You in North Carolina. That's how silly the Moors look. Okay? Meanwhile, they not only own the prison, but the land that they come on, but just as far as the eye can see, the ears can hear. They actually own it, but they are a little too, you can't even hear them. So, what we want to do is look at this hypothesis now, okay? That the Moorish American state would have successfully exercised its right to self-determination. It would have to show the international community, ain't that the families of the nations of the earth? The international, sound familiar? You would have to show the international community that we, the Moors, exist all the characteristics of a sovereign state. What does it mean to be sovereign? Independent, having your own, indigenous, okay? Only your own. This belongs. What do we have unto us? Think about it, Lord. What is the character of being a sovereign state? What does the other sovereign states have? A sovereign state is nothing but another word for nation. What do the other nations have that you also have? And what have you got to prove it? Prove it! What you got? What about a flag? You got your own flag? Oh my goodness, you're going to hold it, the flag of Morocco. You remember what the star is doing, but the flag ain't. Okay? If you remember, the flag originally was what? White. When you gave it to Morocco in 1403. We didn't want to get in that part. The thing about it is, it's the Moorish America. This is the first time we use this name. Okay? Moorish, yes. America, no. Okay? Well, that's who we are today. Okay? And why are you Moorish Americans? Okay? Where did America come from? Because they're indigenous to the continent of the Americas. That's why. That's the modern name for it. Okay? We can make an amendment once we get in charge again if we want to. When we're talking about that sovereign state being a nation, okay? You got to have something to show that you have the characteristics of a nation of people. Do you have your own Grand National Emblem, your own Grand National Seal? What kind of government you got? You got to have a government? What kind of government you got? Is it a republic? Because they hear more calling that all the time. This is a republic. And I looked at that, and one group of Moors hollered they got a republic, and they waving the Moroccan flag, the United States flag, and the Liberty Bell. But they call themselves a republic. I just asked you, Moors, do that make any kind of sense? You got two flags that's already got a seat at the UN, both of them. Now you got a Liberty Bell or somebody else. But you don't call yourself a republic. No, we have a theocratic government. Always have, okay? Why? Because Noble Ali says our forefathers are followers of what? The world's very first religious creed. For the salvation of mankind on earth. So there we go. That's the theocratic government all day. All right? If you don't believe it's a theocratic government, what kind of constitution you got? Divine. What kind of instruction do you have in your Quran? Holy. Okay? What kind of nation of people are you? Clean and pure. Okay? In order to be officially recognized as such, you got to first recognize what you got that belongs to you. Okay? I don't know what that's a pleasant base say. Now, look, Mo, I'm only here as a messenger. You see, I love me and I love you all together. It don't make no damn what's the difference to me. I got to do what I got to do. The thing about it is that, am I right? Is Noble Drew Ali right? Is it right for you to have your own flag? Did Noble Drew Ali bring you the flag? Let me find out. Let's see. What kind of flag is the Moorish? He didn't ask you what kind of flag was the Moroccan. Don't you say you know the difference? He asked you what kind of flag was the Moorish. And I've yet to see a Moor run around and they raise that Moroccan flag every time, but that's not what Drew Ali said. That's because they ain't never got nowhere. You want to get somewhere, raise the flag that Noble Drew Ali asked to raise. So what kind of flag is the Moorish? Every time he uses that word Moorish, he's talking about himself and his people. Every time, even including the Moorish sign symbol. He's talking about who owns the temple? The Moorish. I told the temple can't think. It's the Moorish people that do the thinking. Okay? What's his nationality? Moorish. What's yours? Moorish. Okay? Everywhere he looks, he uses the word Moorish. He's talking about himself and his people. So, the following personal comments highlight an important concern concerning the Moorish American government's ability to successfully gain international recognition. These are European lawyers talking that. But don't it sound just like Noble Drew Ali? Don't Noble Drew Ali also use the word recognition in Act 6 of the Land Constitution bylaw? So you be recognized by what? The nations of the earth? Ain't this what the same thing that the European lawyers, what more does it take? If the Providence said it and the European has said it, why you want to list somebody that ain't never been nowhere and don't know nothing? The Moorish must succeed. They are the successionists. In other words, the reason why we're successors, Lord, is because we actually own this. We own all the Americas, okay? A divine minister is an official of a theocratic government. The Moorish American theocratic government. They are actually officials. Now, if they don't hold their head up, if they recognize as an official, that's okay. If they think they're more members or more NGO than the officials of the government, that's all right. It doesn't make a dime worth of difference. Guess what? Because, number one, we got enough now within our own census. Oh, let me read about the census. This is another requirement for being recognized by the nation of the earth, okay? These are inserted that came in the 2007 when we was at the UN, okay? He asked the question, can the Moors be considered a people? This is what the nation of the earth is asking. This is what they asked at the United Nations. Can the Moorish Americans be considered as a people? That's a question. Okay? How many people currently constitute its population? Okay? Has there been a census? When's the first time you see the census for the Moorish Americans? Was it not on the 7 Seals publication? The reason why was there because I got instructions from the United Nations, from the delegates from Geneva, Switzerland, to formulate two things. So you go back and get the women and children. In other words, formulate a government, and you bring us a tally. That's the only two things you need. Okay, you got everything else. All right, this is their instructions to me. All right. When they read the Declaration and Proclamation, they accepted the seal, the emblem, the flag, the Constitution, everything that the Moorish people have. The nationality card, everything. He said, yes, we've been waiting on this 60 years, and the United Nations has been around 60 years at that time. On its way, though, okay? Now, we're not trying to say this in light of trying to get any kind of respect or fame or glory, nothing like that. That doesn't interest me. What I'm concerned in is not people waking up to realize what time it is before it's too late. Okay? Now, has there been a census? Yes, there is a census. It's on 2 websites. It's on the 7 Seals publication, where we got over, 16,000 in the front office and over 80 in the back. And we also got another census on the government website, which is MorrisAmericanGov.org. Okay? Got a census there too. And being recognized by most of the mayors of most of the metropolis around, and it's growing. Okay? So yeah, that's what we're doing. We have to create that kind of a census. Not only are we recognized as the people ourselves, but we also recognized by our oppressors. So we are the successionists. That means that we got forefathers that say that the Moorish is here. Okay? This continent belongs to our forefathers. We're not stealing anything. Okay? Then it goes on to say, can all people of the Moorish background automatically claim their citizenship status? I'll repeat. These are the lawyers. These are questions that they're going to ask you at the UN. Okay? You should have already gone through this. Because they're going to want to know, can all the Moorish people with the Moorish background, what is the Moorish background? All right? That's your history. That's your descendant nation. Read the book of Ali. It's all there. Everything about your background, your history you ever need to know. And you can stand on it. You can back it up. I ain't talking about no overstanding either. Okay? You need to stand on it and back it up with. Because why? It's there designed for understanding in mind, all right? Then it goes on to ask you, not only that, but then it says, is there a unanimous will among Moorish people to exercise their right to self-determination? This is heartbreaking, Moors. Come on now. I'll read it again. You might be able to hear it. Is there a unanimous, that's one, uni, anytime you see one, uni, it means one, unanimous, uni one, okay, unanimous, all right? Is there a unanimous will? Now, where's the will at, Moors? Thinking, reasoning, willing, all right? What is wrong with your heart and mind if your will is not saying, look, this man is killing you? You, your babies, your women, your men, where the man at? Look, did you know, brother, that you can't even call yourself a man? You ain't even got no testicle or nothing without being a nation first. You don't believe me? Check the record. Show me a man without a nation. Okay, so any man, find him. Find him anywhere on this globe. Every man you know about, he's got a nation somewhere backing him up. The first thing you say, well, what do you do? Oh, he shot 81 points in the basketball game. What? My goodness. What country you from? That's the next thing. What's his name? What country you from? Okay? No matter what you do. Now, the lowest people on the totem pole is those people who are not recognized, who've been exiled. Okay? Not recognized, whose government, they say, no, get out of here. We don't want you. You ain't wanted by and respected by nobody. So is the so-called Negro, black people, and unproclaimed Moorish Americans. They're in the same status as the black people. It's not a dime worth of difference. If you don't believe me, let Royal get it running down through these streets with these tanks and soldiers and things. And some of them is more just like you, but they ain't trained that way. Okay? They said, look, they care to do something against you, understand? Whatever the citizens care to bestow upon you. Somebody got to fill 800 concentration camps. Somebody got to fill them up. Okay? And so it's asking you a question. If you have not come together, if you more on this call, don't spread the love and say, look, we got to have one will among us as a people. A unanimous will amongst the Moorish people to say, look, we recognize we're all in deep south here. If we don't come together, we got our principles. That's a guideline right there. Look, let's put aside all this other stuff and get us some LTP and some J up in here. That's all you got to do. Okay? Is there a unanimous will among the Moorish people to exercise their right for self-determination? We are a self. Being a people is a self, but you won't recognize it unless you become yourself as one. It's just that simple. Here's another question that the European asked the lawyer. He just bringing us up to the U.S., and I know it because I had to deal with it. Is there a North American government? Good gracious of me. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I was in Chicago recently, and we got some Moors there that still believe that the Moorish American government is inside of a Moorish Science Temple somewhere. Of course, there's only about a half a dozen, 2 dozen or so around in the Chicago area. But all of them claim the same thing. You can't even be a Moorish American unless you're a member of the Moorish Science Temple. No decent nature at all. Look, that's got to be, the foolishness got to stop. Okay? It's just really got to stop. The question is there a Moorish American government? Why would we need a government? Who was the first person ever told about a government? And what did he know? Was it Noble Dwelly? Throughout the divine constitution bylaw? Government. All right? And sure, I know because I came on the same thing. This is the divine constitution, Moorish Territorial. He still has government up in there. But you got to realize where he found us at and how he had to redeem us from what? Could he leave us in the Moorish Science Temple? Is that where he found us? No. He found us in the bowels of Rome. He built the Moorish Science Temple as a leverage, as an educational doorway for us to come through so we can be ourselves as a nation of people. Recognize ourselves. But we had to recognize ourselves. We had to learn about ourselves first. Somebody had to teach the Moorish Americans how to be Moorish Americans. It's just that simple. And do you know what, boys? With all due respect, you ain't had nobody around here teaching the Moorish American how to be a Moorish American. This Noble Dwelly did it. And let me prove you why. Because if they had the right teachers, don't you know they would have come together with enough self-determination to save themselves as a nation of people? So that's what Noble Dwelly said do. That's what he said do. But he knew what was going to happen. He said, look, maybe around the year 2000, the Moors are coming to their own. That's 80 years later. That's 80 years later. Well, it's just 70 anyway. Okay? It's 82 now. Think about that. I mean, if that ain't a holy power of tongue, then I don't know what is, Moses. In other words, he knew what kind of thinking you had, what kind of, where your heart was at, your soul was at, and he let you know right now, look, I want to leave the Europeans here just long enough to teach you how to do what? Run a government. I repeat, Noble Raleigh said, I'm going to leave the European here. That's who wrote this I keep calling it mandate. This memorandum, the Europeans wrote this memorandum. Okay? Now think about what Raleigh said. I'm going to leave the European here just long enough to teach you, Moorish Americans, how to run what? A government. And this right here, putting it together, what is Mo? Okay? Is there a Moorish American government? What are its powers over the Moorish American population? Because what is a government? A government is an institution of laws which governs, protects, and guides its citizens. That's what a government is. Okay? It must have a constitution. Okay? Once the Moorish Americans exercise their right to self-determination through succession, what will be the borders of its territory? Okay, where's the land at? Because Moorish Americans got all of this President case. You got a divine constitution of Moorish America. All years, all woo. What? A Holy Quran of Moorish America? Oh no, woo. Okay. The European asked a question like this. He said, once the Moorish American people have exercised their right to self-determination through succession, means that you inherited something. Okay? What will be the borders of his territories? Okay? you gotta take into consideration. Where is Moorish America? Moorish America got to be somewhere, because why? The Moorish Americans are here. It can't be the United States. It's got to be a Moorish America somewhere. Where is it? Where's the territory? Where's the borders at? Not only that, the lawyers don't want us to ask this question. Say, do you have a legal basis to claim that territory? Whoa! Or do you possess any historical, scientific, or archaeological evidence of your presence or your presence on such territory? Can you prove it? Can you back it up? I ain't gonna buy that book of Ali. I know it's $20, and it's all right there in the book of Ali. No, Ali brought it. We just explained it. Okay? So in case you didn't hear the last two, I'm gonna read it to you again. Okay? By the succession be the borders of a territory. Do you have any legal basis to claim that territory? And do you possess any historical? You Moors, every Moorish American on this phone right now, what kind of evidence, what kind of backup do you have to conclude that any kind of historical, scientific, archaeological evidence of your presence on such territory? That means you're on the land. You're actually on it. You're on it. Okay? What in the world? What you doing here? Who goes there? Prove it. Or you can do like old Shepherd of Lion like song. He said, like a lot, Daddy's home. That's what I tell them. Consider the Moorish American people currently living on a territory claimed by the United States government. The only viable option for the Moorish American government to reach self-determination under current international law would be succession from that state, meaning the United States. You must succeed from the United States. You got to show them that you are what? Able to proclaim yourself as an independent, sovereign power, sovereign nation of people. You got to have a government, a constitution, flag, everything. Not just a whole bunch of lip service, which you run around the fistball up, don't mean jack. Okay? You got to be able to prove, and not only that, you got to let them know that you ain't a slave no more. Okay, that means you gotta, when you talk to people, you gotta talk to them with what? An intelligent tone. You gotta use wisdom from out the highest plane of spirit life, because this is what a Moorish American do. That's why the Bible says it's mandatory that you clean your heart and mind with love. That's the only thing that's gonna get you there. Okay? Love is going to purify you where you don't come up with hatred. The rocks all in your yard swirl up behind what somebody did to you because you were the one that turned your back on your own God and he put you in slavery for it. Okay? Now it's time left to, okay, yeah, you got me that time. I ain't gonna do that no more. Get your act together. Okay? So, we want to give honor to the memorandum. And we've got so much more of this to go in our last two sessions, so we go back to the U.S. and more love. We talk about self-determination, the economy, the environment, education, culture, spiritual conference calls, commitment, everything that shows the separation from being an NGO. But the self-determination also means self-government, self-rule. Okay? You must be able to control and master yourself. Because why? We are an indigenous people, man. It ain't like we got to look for Moorish America, or we got to find it somewhere. We got to get our hands and start scratching, digging for it. It's right here, okay? And when you get to talk about the Declaration of Human Rights, it's all right here for us, all right? So I'd like to go a little further into this and talk with the executives about Saturday, and we'll see what we come with, you know. But meanwhile, I want to hear what the Moors have gotten out of this, especially on tomorrow night's holiday services, okay? But right now, I'm going to open up the class down. Man, just to realize what time it is. I want everyone to, I want to open up the class now for